to the great Indian filmmaker, Satyajit Ray. The Academy recognizes Mr. Ray's rare mastery of the art of motion pictures and of his profound humanism, which has had an indelible influence on filmmakers and audiences throughout the world.
Satyajit Ray was born on May 2nd, 1921, in an intellectual and affluent family in Calcutta, India. Through those eyes and dreamlike experiences, Ray allows us to see his Calcutta and through it, his world, through the eyes of his characters. These personal journeys in the world allowed us to learn more about ourselves in relationship to others through our positioning in this ever-changing world society. Ray's evolutions and perspectives and ways of narrating personal stories echoes the current anthropological thinking about the world and its relevance to this historical moment.
With the sun. It's so typical of the Bengal village. You see, we have to have a temple, either one or two together. And it's an inevitable part of the conventional Bengali village. It's a fairy tale, so we need compositions that are very strong pictorially.
Mr. Ray is wonderful to work with because he is very patient. When taking the scenes, he would explain the situation and ask us to act the situation the way we wanted to do. He would just tell us that this particular character is feeling like this in this particular moment.
He would just describe the particular scene or the emotion he wants me to do, and would just stand by and see how I can do it. So I also felt that I was contributing to the creation, to his creative effort.
চলো যাই ঘুরে চলো যাই ঘুরে আসি প্রাণে ভরে বনেতে পাহাড়ে মরু প্রান্তরে বনেতে পাহাড়ে মরু প্রান্তরে
Ray's films culminate an epiphany of perspectives, from the childhood curiosity of Apu's eyes to the sense of imprisonment from the perspective of Charu, or the frustration and disillusionment felt from the perspective of Siddhartha. In this context, Ray's style is that of a child's play, as in Bhaktin's definition of polyglossia, a multi-layered and multi-vocal open arena of imagined, subjective point of views and perspectives which articulate personal histories of change and exchange.
কোথায় এলাম রে? ওগুলো কি রে? মাধবী
film preservation is something that we got involved with back in 1970s or so, when we tried to see a lot of the films that myself and inspired us, and we couldn't get good prints. And so the first film that I really saw about India was Pate Panchali by Satyajit Ray. And I realized it was a film that was made by Indians, for the world, not through other cultures. And it brought me to learn about the rest of the world.
Well, this one came about, I wanted to make a movie in India, and I had become fascinated with India, really from movies, particularly the movies of Satyajit Ray.
The first film I saw was Celluloid. Photography was something like that I've seen in real. It had a timeless quality, especially Celluloid, particularly I like for the kind of lights that is used and the kind of frames it had and things like that. It has a timeless quality which I don't know how to explain in that way, but you know that the sincerity, everything you see in each frame.
I think it's belittling to someone like the great Mr. Satyajit Ray to say हमको उनकी ये film पसंद थी. I think he's even beyond the films he's made. He's how to say, he's an institution for cinema, not only in this country but across the world.
कितना precisely उनका वो होता था, and he was so sure, एकदम sure होते थे. वो चला रहे हाथ से कट, फिर उसको कैंची से काटना, फिर उसको जोड़ना, फिर उसको फिर लोड करना, फिर चलाना. आप अनुमान नहीं लगा सकते हैं कि इतनी खूबसूरत वर्ल्ड क्लास फिल्में ये मैन्युअली बनाया. आजकल हमारे पास तो कंप्यूटर हो गया, टरर सब फट से हो जाता है.
I was absolutely struck by the film, seen it at least a dozen times, and I said, this is a man who taught me what cinema truly is. You have to make your own way, because you have to learn your own, you must find your own voice. And I think by seeing Pate Panchali, I found my own voice.
There was something very specific and beautiful about every frame, every word, every note of music, the choice of actor, the choice of singer, and how to light it, what the face is. So to have that picture in your mind is important for a film director. That's specifically what we should follow and learn from Ray.
Ray's humanism tells us that this world belongs to us. We are the world.
Let's go. Fine.
In the midst of burning plastic rubbish, death and happiness walk hand in hand. For the human touch cannot exist elsewhere, but in the here and now. Internationally recognized as one of the best filmmakers of the 20th century, Satyajit Ray was an ambassador of parallel cinema in India.
This happens in India all the time. And people don't, we have a fairly backward audience here, I must say, in spite of the film society movement and all that. If you consider the large audience, it's a backward audience, unsophisticated audience, exposed to the commercial Hindi cinema more than anything else. And so you face this problem, but you make the kind of films, I make the kind of films that I want to make. I make the kind of films that I enjoy making, that engages my attention, my creativity. That's all I can do.
The incredible storyteller, through the medium of his films, depicted the everyday struggles, conflicts, joys, and sorrows of human race perfectly. In his career span, Ray directed more than 36 movies, beginning with hugely acclaimed Bengali drama film Pate Panchali. Other than being a multiple national award-winning director, Ray was also a writer, graphic designer, calligrapher, and a film critic.
These are drawings of costumes which the various characters in this film, Charulata, wore in the film, and I have indicated the particular sets and the sequences in which they were used. This is the second character, the husband, and here we have Charulata, the main character, the heroine, with the usual indications down the side. Saris, which we had to specially buy, and blouses with frills and Victorian everything, because this was a period piece, 1870.
In 1984, the prolific director was bestowed with the prestigious Dada Saheb Phalke Award, which is India's biggest cinematic honor.
My roots here in Bengal, and a trip abroad is good for looking up friends and taking a look at the latest films, but my work is here, and I was born in Calcutta and I was brought up, and I love this city. I never want to leave it. When I made Jalsaghar after the box office failure of Aparajito, I felt that I was making a film specifically for the Indian audience, dealing with Indian music, Indian dancing, very, very intensely Indian stories. And certainly in those days I felt that this film is never going to go out of the... But of course, even in early days, it was shown in London, and I was quite surprised by the review. Some critics have even gone so far as to say that that is their favorite film, not just my film.
In 1992, Satyajit Ray received the honorary Academy Award for Lifetime Achievement.
To the great Indian filmmaker, Satyajit Ray. Mr. Ray has been making films for almost 4 decades. The Academy recognizes Mr. Ray's rare mastery of the art of motion pictures and of his profound humanism, which has had an indelible influence on filmmakers and audiences throughout the world. Unfortunately, Mr. Ray is not well and cannot be with us tonight, but he is able to speak with us from his hospital room in Calcutta.
Well, it's been an extraordinary experience for me to be here tonight to receive this magnificent award, certainly the best achievement of my movie-making career.
কেমনে বাঁশি বাজায় শোনো মাঠেতে রাখাল কেমনে বাঁশি বাজায় শোনো মাঠেতে রাখাল তার সুরে বুঝি জাদু আছে মন হলো মাতাল কেমন বাঁশি বাজায় শোনো মাঠেতে রাখাল গাছের ছায়ায় বসে মাঠে সুরের ঘরে সময় কাটে গাছের ছায়ায় বসে মাঠে সুরের ঘরে সময় কাটে সূর্যি নেমে গেল পাটে নাই কোনো খেয়াল কেমন বাঁশি বাজায় শোনো মাঠেতে রাখাল
5 by 1 5 6 take 1
Cut! Okay? Okay for me. Lovely.